Morning, fellow zombies. How are you doing today? Well, I better wait, kid. It's only 9 o'clock. In the morning on a Tuesday, the 12th of August, 2025, I'm trying to catch up with the latest and greatest hits are happening out there, other than CDC feeling like they are scared to identify themselves as CDC workers. Now, because of the COVID situation happened, there was yays and nays about CDC trying to save humanity's ass on this one. But when they actually had the vaccinations and it was keeping the COVID-19 down, there wasn't that much, as I've been hearing, negative reactions, except for RFK Jr. in his mouth. A lawyer with no medical experience, but he thinks he knows everything. Next thing you know, during the Trump administration, he's running it to the ground and eliminating programs left and right, and he thinks he knows better. He's the place of conspiracies, and yet he's not producing anything regarding his madness. Maybe he's discovered that all these conspiracies he thought he knew were all bullshit. Well, he's still getting his ass reamed, one way or another. But the people are now afraid because they have a gentleman out there listening to RFK's mouth all the time, feeling that the CDC is not secure enough, or secure, period. After when you have a guy going above the CVS and shooting out places of CDC, but not penetrating the windows enough, which is a good thing. But no, he ends up FUBAR because he kills himself in the process. The workers are not happy or comfortable or satisfied and don't even look at their boss with kindness, apparently, because who the hell's going to look at kindness over RFK Jr.'s mental status? He thought he knew better. He kept mouthing off conspiracies left and right, and a lot of followers on Fox and all the maggots out there thought, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. He's a lawyer. Yeah, because he knows how to double talk people. He's a lawyer. He's equipped for it. That wasn't bad enough. We got Janelle Pirro going off on the mouth again. Wants to go after the young punks. Wants to have the laws changed to where 14-year-olds can be tried as an adult. And yet, one would keep wondering how come the kid named Big Balls, and I call him a kid because he's a lot younger than I am, got himself FUBAR. He had to make himself a star on social media, made himself a target, and then he gets beat up. But the Trump government wants more distraction, so yes, they're going to try to shove a law into Congress to overrule D.C. and say, look, 14-year-olds ought to be beaten up or something like that, or jailed, incarcerated, because they roved and they beat up people and they're dangerous. So basically, if you're going to be raising a 14-year-old, are you going to be raising a thug or a human being? Because according to Jeanette Pirro and also the Trumplicans out there, including Trump, who supports it, kids are a problem. Teenagers are a problem. They should be dealt with. They should be punished. This is a good way of starting up with the shit we've got out with the Palestinian people in Israel. You keep suppressing and harassing your ass, and you're going to get Hamas coming out of it. The kids we have these days, they know the shit. They got social media. They're connected. And yet there are punks out there who don't like other people, including the ones who they think that have already threatened them one way or another. It's not just for kicks. But if they are doing it for kicks, they ought to get themselves kicked in the ass by their own parents. But if they don't got any parents, well, that's where the juvenile court systems come in handy. That's how the process is supposed to be. But we have D.C. going to be locked down under martial law, unofficial, because it's public safety emergency we have. It's a public emergency safety thing we got going on. We have to lock it down because there's so much crime. No, there isn't. And Trump knows it, and he's doing this to get more and more attention on this, other than Epstein. Trump, you live to have your head stuck up your ass. And so does everybody who follows you, including Jeanette Pirro. Including her. So now you made her a D.C. district judge, and she's going to be following your ass all the damn time. She probably likes the smell of it. All that misinformation and garbage that you keep bumping out of both of your asses, the one in the front and the one in the rear. So she's going to follow it, and she's going to try acting like a tough woman. Because, oh, I'm a tough woman. I've got power now. I've got judicial authority. Yeah, there's also called the appellate. So, is it legal for the soldiers to be there? That's going to be the courts to decide at this point over here. The problem is, District of Columbia was made an isolated community of sorts. It is the capital of the United States. And unfortunately, it falls under the purview of having no state, no governor, no nothing. Except the do nothing Congress, it doesn't exactly support him very much. The White House won't support him very much, except how to enforce it. So, how would you like to have the Marines march around your town if you're in Washington, D.C. right now? And it's on the thing about, or even the National Guard looking at people, because National Guard is not suited when it comes down for national security, when it comes down for police enforcement. Either is the military. Except that they have roving officers of military police out there to patrol the streets. But they're usually patrolling their own places or securing areas. They're not hip when it comes down for crime. Crime in cities. They're only giving the orders what they're told, but they're not hip on the laws. So now we do have an occupying force. And Trump's doing it again, but this time on Washington, D.C. So this is what we're dealing with, guys. They're saying that we're not in martial law yet, that we're not in tyranny. I don't know where you've been sleeping at. But unfortunately, I wake up and every day is tyranny. The thing is about the tyranny here, about the autocratic society planning on being one of the countries out there in systems and structures to allow human cruelty to happen. But only to a point where we don't have the international community coming down on those nations. Not as much. And with the United States, it's a different thing altogether with us, isn't it? So it's going to be an ugly thing to see military walking around, but acting as enforcers. Not the military personnel going to different places in their BDUs or their dress blues. No, they're going to be wearing combats. National Guard and either Army or Marines dressed up in combats patrolling the streets of Washington, D.C. And if that wasn't bad enough, some of the other cities, I guess the blue states are going to be affected first. Maybe not the red states. They're going to be trying to tell us that we need to have this armed encampment. Here's the thing. If it gets down to maybe the point where we've got military coming out of bases, I live within spitting distance of the gate. I live spitting distance to the property line. Doesn't take much for the military to come down the roads to either the north side of the base or to the south side, which I'm at. Southwest side. And if they want to roll in troops, we're going to be seeing planes coming in. They're not going to deplete the bases we have out here in the Antelope Valley, but they'll deplete us. I mean, they'll go through, and they'll probably nationalize the Sheriff's Department. And Sheriff's Department are going to have a field day over this one. They said they're going to be willing to cooperate to the Federalists, but they're not going to give the federal government that much of an issue. Right now, I'm under a separate tyranny that still needs breakfast right now, so I gotta feed her. She must be obeyed. And that being said,